Hello, welcome to this video on the definition of inverse functions. In this video, we're going to talk about how to find the inverse of a function and kind of what the just basic definition of the inverse function is. So, in this video, the first thing that we need to talk about is a relation. And now, a relation is the idea about inputs and outputs that you guys are used to, right? So something's simple as y equals 2x. So the definition here is any set of ordered pairs, or anything that can be written as a set of ordered pairs, both finite and infinite. So here are some examples. You just have regular ordered pairs. You have table here. You have a graph. And then over here we have equations. So all of these are relations. Now, but are relations functions? Not always. So that brings us to our next definition that we're going to talk about, and that is a function. So here, this can be kind of tedious, so make sure you read and underline this with me. So any relation where there is a one-to-one relationship between the x-coordinates and the corresponding y-coordinates, a function is a relation in which each value of the domain is paired exactly with one value of the range. Okay, so each x, right, and maybe I'll write this up here. So each x has only one y value. Okay, that is the rule. Each x can have only one y value. So here are some examples of functions. -2, 6, 3, -4, 5, 0, 7, 8. So this is a function because each x, right, has only one y value. And kind of the key strategy that you can use here is to look at x values and see if they repeat and if they have a different y value. So these are functions. Additionally here, in a graph, you can tell this is a function by doing something that we call the vertical line test. The vertical, maybe you want to write this one down, vertical line test. So each x can have only one y value. So you can see here that at this line here, we intersect our graph right here, right? Each x value has only one y value. Now, if we do, say, that vertical line test over here, and I draw a line right down the middle, you'll see that this x value of 0, it has two y values. Okay, now that is not a function, right? My x value repeats and its y values are different. Okay, so these are not functions. All right, now is it okay for more than one y value to exist? Now that is perfectly fine, right? And a good example of this, and I'll pose this right here, can more than one y value appear or exist, right? Can a y repeat with a different x? And the answer to that question is yes. Now here's an example of that. And that would be a parabola. And I'll do my best to draw a parabola here. Okay, and we'll talk about maybe this value. We'll call this value 2. Right? So here at -1 and then here at 1, right? my y value repeats, but they have different x's. This is okay. Function. This is a function. Okay, and that's a common question that is asked in these lessons. Now we're going to talk now about the inverse of a function, which is our main topic for this unit, an inverse. So the inverse of a function or a relation is the set of ordered pairs B and A obtained by interchanging or just switching the coordinates of each point A, B in the original relation or a function. So a basic example of this would be if I have 3, 4, right? This is my original relation. Now the inverse of this ordered pair is you just switch them, right? The x becomes the y becomes the x. So now 3, 4 turns into 4, 3. That's basically it. How do you find an inverse? Switch x, switch y, right? Domain becomes range, range becomes domain. For inverse functions, if f of x is the original function, then f inverse of x is the inverse function, right? And this is how you say it, f, right? And we use superscript here, f. Some people say to the power of -1. Don't say that. You will sound like you don't know anything, right? People will think you're dumb. F inverse of x is read the inverse of f of x or f inverse of x. Okay, make sure you read these out loud, and make sure you read this and this, say this, talk to your partner, and that is the concept, right, for what we're talking about today. Here are the main ideas that we discussed: a relation, right, a function, okay, and then last but not least, which is the main topic for the unit, the inverse of a function. That's what we'll be talking about, and that's the type of problems we'll be doing today. All right, like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and watch the next video. All right.